Hey there everyone, and I thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another episode of My Orchid Adventures. So in today's episode, we're going to go ahead and update you all about my Catasetum propagations. And I do have to admit, this was the moment I feared. For the simple fact that although we did have some successful propagations, we also had some major flops, indeed, some major letdowns and disappointments. Now, not because the Catasetums were not capable and didn't have the potential to survive and thrive, but for the simple fact that I did not do my part, okay? Whenever we're doing a propagation, it is important for us to understand that when we propagate, we are setting our orchids back and they are weaker than they normally would be. And because they are weaker, we have to understand we have to be far more accommodating, meaning we have to commit the dedication, the time, and also the energy in monitoring them and also providing them with everything that they need. So to be honest with you, I didn't do that. And I actually left them in my garden during the heavy rainy season. So you can imagine what transpired from there. Well, I'm not going to talk about it any further. I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys. So this is the Catasetum that actually had 4 bulbs in here. And it did have 4 growths as well, doing very well. Now, because it was in my garden, it did receive excessive amount of water also, and fungus did begin to set in. So it did take 2 pseudobulbs out. It does have 3 remaining growths still thriving. So this right here is semi-successful, and hopefully these will continue to grow. I did get 3 new growths out of it, so I'm at least happy with that. Okay, so this Catasetum right here is the Catasetum that actually had 14 possible growth points. Now, out of those 14 growth points, 3 actually managed to survive and thrive very, very well. Now, we do have to understand that even though an orchid may produce many growth points, that doesn't mean that all of them will grow. In actual reality, the orchid's primary purpose is to survive. So it's only going to put out as much as it can manage to put out. It's not going to totally wipe itself out or deplete itself out of its energy and then risk the fact of dying because it does not have any more energy left. So again, what it's going to do is it's only going to produce as many that it can actually sustain and manage. And in this case, it was only 3. And those 3 were doing very, very well until I decided to go ahead and keep them in my garden. And I put it way to the back, way to the side where I couldn't really see it. And that was an effort to keep it away from the sun. But by also doing that, I forgot all about them. So yes, it was neglected, it was left in the rains, and it actually succumbed to some sort of fungus infection. And by the time I realized it, it was way too late, even though I did try to treat it with fungicide, but the actual infection had set in so badly that it took all of the growths out. So this is what we are left with. This did not survive, not because it didn't have the potential, but because of my neglect. And what the phalaenopsis is this? I'll tell you exactly what this is. This is the absolute worst Catasetum propagation method ever. And as a matter of fact, I forewarned you guys about this method. If you don't believe me, I actually did it in a video. Click right here. It'll take you to that video. I did warn you guys. I told you guys not to do this. This is the hardest Catasetum propagation to do. And this is the one that we actually cut the Catasetum into several segments. Now, we initially kept it in a bark type of material and we kept it covered up, if you guys remember. Now, what I actually did in the midst of this is I decided to change my course of action for the simple fact that the Catasetum did not look like it was doing well. It became very, very shriveled up. So I wanted to put it in a more moisture retentive container, in which I did. I used the spag and bag method. We put sphagnum moss and we moistened it, and then we added the segments of the Catasetum. Only problem is with the Catasetum, even though you cut it up, even though you allowed it to dry and seal, it still has a very fibrous, very hairy type of texture in which it does absorb the moisture like a sponge, enough to where it invites fungus and mildew to grow, and that is exactly what transpired in this container right here, because I actually left this also in my garden and then completely forgot about it. So by the time I got to it and I seen the fungus growth, it actually started to eat it up already, and it was basically mush and gush, as you can see right here. So do you guys want to see it? No, you don't want to see it, because I don't even want to see it. I am so afraid to open this container right here. This is like hazardous material. But yeah, this was not successful, and again, I'm very disappointed, and quite a learning lesson for me. I don't know if I'll try it again, but if I do, of course, I won't be using this method right here. So yeah, unsuccessful, unfortunately. Okay folks, so this one right here was also another one that I did the spag and bag method with. It was actually the one whole catasetum. It was very long, and I went ahead and cut off all the roots, and I was undecided on what I was going to do. So I went ahead and put it in this spag and bag, and I guess it was semi-successful, because I also forgot about this one too as well. And take a look. Do you see that? It actually grew. And when I found it, it was actually zip-locked in here, and it was being crushed, so I actually had to open it up, and it grew right out of there. So I guess it's semi-successful, right? But yeah, it will actually grow through anything. These catasetums are pretty strong, so just because I had some failed attempts, don't think that they are not hardy orchids, because they are. Now this one right here, I am absolutely thrilled with, because we propagated by separating each individual pseudobulbs, and we actually separated 5 bulbs, and out of those 5 bulbs, all of them really took. And as you can see, all 5 bulbs are currently growing as well. This one did not sustain any type of infection. It's quite a hardy orchid, and we have 5 new growths on here. So I am looking forward to seeing them bloom next year. Now please note that when you do the propagation by separating the bulbs, you more than likely will not get a bloom spike within that same year. You can expect to have it perhaps the next year, or even perhaps the following year after that, but usually the same year you will not see it. So it actually needs time to grow and mature. But indeed, I'm very, very happy with this one right here. Yay! This one was completely successful. And there you have it, folks. That is a complete Catasetum propagation update wrap. Now, I do want to leave you with this message right here, because although it wasn't 100% successful, I want to let you guys know that failures aren't always failures. Failures are only failures if you give up. And a prime example of that is Mr. Thomas Edison, who actually created our light bulb. Did you guys know that it actually took him 1,000 failed attempts before he was actually successful in creating that light bulb? So if at any given time he would have given up, can you imagine this? We would have all been left in the dark. So because he did not give up, even through his failures, he eventually succeeded. So failures can actually be the stepping stone to success. It could also be the roadmap that leads and guides you. It teaches you what you should and what you shouldn't do until you reach your final destination. So indeed, we move forward, we progress, we never give up, and we always know if there's an orchid will, there is an orchid way, and we will find that orchid way. I thank you guys so much. I hope you guys learned something new from this video. I also hope that you liked this video, and if you did, please be sure to like, share, and also subscribe. I want to let you guys also know that I truly do love and appreciate you guys all. Bye-bye for now. Mwah.